All right, so today we are going to be solving absolute value equations, and we're going to say that the absolute value of a real number x written absolute value of x is the distance from x to 0 on the number line. And is always positive. All right, absolute value of a number is the distance from the number to 0 on a number line. Absolute values are always positive. Absolute values are always positive. So when we're solving absolute value equations, and we'll start off with something like this today, where you're asked to solve. We've got the absolute value of 2x minus 1 is equal to 5. And we're asked to solve and graph. Solve and graph. Okay, when you're solving absolute value equations, the first step is to get this absolute value symbol by itself on one side of the equal sign. The absolute value symbol and whatever's in it on one side of the equal sign. On one side of the equal sign. In this case, you already have that. You have just the absolute value symbol and a 2x minus 1 on the left side, and it's equal to 5. Once you're there and you have that, you write two equations. You rewrite the equation that you're given without the absolute value symbol. So you write 2x minus 1 is equal to 5. And then you write an equation, 2x minus 1 is equal to negative 5. Your next step is to solve both equations. So we're going to add 1 to each side on the left. So our 2x is equal to 6. We're going to divide both sides by 2. And x is equal to 3. Then you solve the other equation the same way. Add 1 to each side. Our 2x would be equal to negative 5 plus 1 would be negative 4. Divide both sides by 2. And we get an x that's equal to negative 2. Now, these are the two values that will make this absolute value equation true. Because if we substitute them and we go absolute value of 2 times 3 minus 1 Is that equal to 5? Well, we get the absolute value of 6 minus 1. Does that equal 5? It does, because the absolute value of 5 is equal to 5. So this answer works. If we check this negative 2, we would say, does 2 times negative 2 minus 1 equal to 5? So is the absolute value of 2 times negative 2 is negative 4 minus 1 is negative 5? Is the absolute value of negative 5 equal to 5? It is, okay? Because absolute value means how far is negative 5 from 0 on the number line? Well, it's 5 units. So both of these answers work. And then just graph them. We're graphing negative 2, which is a closed circle on negative 2. And we're graphing positive 3, which is a closed circle on positive 3. All right, so we get the absolute value symbol by itself. Rewrite the equation twice. Solve both equations, and then graph your solution. Any questions there? Let's look at 3 times the absolute value of x plus 2 minus 1 equal to 8. All right, again, we've got to get this absolute value symbol by itself. We're going to start off by adding 1 to each side. On the left-hand side, we now have 3 times the absolute value of x plus 2 equals 9. The next step would be to divide both sides by 3. So we're left with the absolute value of x plus 2 equal to 3. When we get here, we rewrite the equation twice, and we drop the absolute value symbol. So we rewrite it the first time just the way it is. X plus 2 is equal to positive 3. And then we rewrite it. X plus 2 is equal to negative 3. Solve both equations. So we get an x that's equal to 1. And when we solve this second equation, subtract 2 from each side. And our x is equal to negative 5. When we graph that, or graph those solutions, we go to negative 5 on the number line. We're closed on the negative 5. And we go to 1 on the number line. And we are closed on the 1. Any questions? Let's do one more of these. Let's go 2 times the absolute value of x plus 9 plus 3 is equal to 7. So we're going to subtract 3 from each side. So 2 times the absolute value of x plus 9 is equal to 4. And then divide both sides by 2. So the absolute value of x plus 9 is equal to 2. Next step is to write both equations. So we take x plus 9 equals 2 and x plus 9 equals negative 2. Solve both equations. We get an x that's equal to 2 minus 9 would be negative 7. And negative 2 minus 9 would be negative 11. And then just graph both your solutions. All right, any questions? So 2 types of absolute value problems today. First type is when you already have the absolute value on one side, and all you have to do is rewrite the equations and solve. The second type of problem is when you have to isolate the absolute value symbol, and then you write 2 equations and solve. All right, then your practice for today is going to be on page 46. Problems 10 through 18.